Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? Hope you all will be fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. And may Allah Pak shower His blessing upon all of you. And today I am going to prepare a lecture for you. And the subject which we are studying is the behavioral finance. And in behavioral finance we are continuing different decision making biases and errors, and in the previous lectures we have already discussed 4 to 5 biases, which are overconfidence bias, representative bias, anchoring and adjustment bias, and cognitive dissonance bias, and today we will discuss another one. So before discussing all these biases in detail and going to start our lecture properly, dear student, I want to discuss some important points with you. You know very well that not all we but all the whole world facing these critical situations, and dear student, this is the name of life, and because the different ups and downs comes in our life and we have to face it, but the main point is that we are facing, but face it with bravery. So don't be disheartened and don't be afraid. Live your life happily, and we have to move on with all these circumstances and live your life positively with best hopes. So because we all know that we plan for our life for different things, and that we will do that thing, but no one knows about the future. Always makes the plan positively, but make sure there are different risk involved with our life, and being a human, the main risk which everyone is facing is the risk of death. So no one knows about the death, but this is the critical and bitter truth that we have to face it, that one day we all have to face this bitter truth. So live your life before the death. So this does not mean that you will be afraid and ignore all the events of like studying. Yes, most of the students do not like this mode of teaching, but this is the only way, because we all teachers are doing our best to give you lectures that you will enjoy it and don't get boredom. But dear student, you have to compromise with us and take it seriously and learn it by heart, because whenever you will never learn by heart, then it will not absorb in your mind. We always taught you that always learn anything which you want to learn it by heart, then it will be absorbed in your mind. So listen my lectures when your mind is sound and calm, and take it seriously. I think you will get a nice understanding, and I am trying my best to communicate you all the concepts which are the requirement to cover your course outline. So before going to discuss our lecture, dear student, take it seriously and live your life happily, and I pray that may Allah Pak shower His blessing upon of you and protects all of you. Okay, and let's we start in the name of Allah. In today's lecture we will cover following learning objectives, that what are the different decision making errors and biases we have already discussed in detail, but here I will give a short review for you, that yes, every day we are faced with countless choices and decisions, and the Standard Finance says that yes, investors and the financial markets, all the markets behave rationally, but being a human, nature is normal, and they behave naturally. So behavioral finance challenge the Standard Finance, and he says that yes, different psychological effects on making the decisions for the investor. So what are the different factors which affect? So when all these factors affect differently, so these are known as the cognitive biases. and we also call them the different heuristics. So today we will discuss another bias, which is known as self attribution bias, because our life also presents us with many opportunities to solve the problem differently and different alternatives available to us. So by understanding the different cognitive biases and the process which involves in our decision making and problem solving, we can analyze our own actions and the actions of other, and we can learn from the actions of different people. So this analysis can improve the results of our problem solving and decision making, both personally and professionally. Now different decision making biases are here, and in the psychology there is a specific terminology which we called heuristics are mostly used, and one way in which we make decisions through a systematic process is called a heuristic. Heuristic, basically, we have already discussed in the previous lecture that these are considered the mental shortcuts, or you can say a rule of thumb for making a decisions. So we use, for example, sometimes we used our past experiences that we have faced and make and take the different experience from those actions. So the advantage of heuristics definitely is their speed, and within a very short time we make the decisions. But sometimes it may result in inaccurate decisions when you will not properly take the serious diligence to the all the consequences. So multiple type of different decision making heuristics exist in our life. So this lesson will focus on the specific type which is known as self attribution bias. Self-attribution bias basically is a cognitive bias that refers to the systematic errors. Actually, definitely, if you are nominating the success just because of you and ignoring the failure to the other factors, so it means that there is a cognitive error, systematic error made when people evaluate or try to find reason for their own and others' behavior. Attribution biases basically are present in everyday life, and we all make self-enhancing attribution from time to time, and they are an important and relevant topic to the study. Particularly, a very common example is the self-serving bias, which is the tendency to attribute our success to ourselves and failure to the other and the situations. For example, student faring well on an exam, for example, might credit their own intelligence that no, I am an intelligent student, so that's why I will score the A grade. So this is not because of the other factors. For example, you will ignore the teaching methodology of the teachers or your hard work. You will give all the success just because of your intelligence, that you will consider that you are the most intelligent, but many other factors also give the boost to your securing for your success. So for example, another example, when athletes often reason that they are simply performed to reflect their own superior athletic skill in if they win a game, but when they will fail, so they might allege unfair calls by a referee that when they lose a game. So these are the different actions or behaviors which causes the attribution bias. In legal language, when we describe the self-attribution bias, basically it's a cognitive phenomenon by which people attribute failures to situational factors or other external factors, and success to the dispositional factor. So self-serving bias can actually be broken into two components, or you can say subsidiary biases. Number one is self-enhancing bias, and number two is self-protecting bias. Self-enhancing bias, it represents that when people's propensity or their tendency to claim an irrational degree of credit for their success, and self-protecting bias represent the corollary effect, the irrational decision of responsibility for failure. For example, the self-enhancing bias, we can explain it from the cognitive perspective. Cognitive perspective means that when you are thinking, your logical reasoning involved. So research shows that if people intend to succeed, then outcomes in accordance with that intention, for example success, so they will be perceived as the result of people acting to achieve that they have originally intended. Individuals then will naturally accept more credit for their success than failures, since they intend to succeed rather than to fail. And self-protecting bias can also be explained from an emotional perspective. Self-enhancing bias, we explained it as a cognitive perspective. So self-protecting bias, basically it's an emotional perspective, because some argue that the need to maintain self-esteem, for example, directly affect the attribution of task, different results coming from these tasks, because people will protect themselves psychologically. Will protect them psychologically as they attempt to comprehend their failures. So because these cognitive and emotional explanations are linked, so it can be difficult to ascertain or to estimate that which form of the bias is at work in a given situations. But both are parallelly, you can say, are interchangeably are involved in creating the self-attribution bias. Now different types, here we will discuss some or measures. That an attribution, basically we have already discussed, that is the reason a person gives for why an event happened. When we look at other people's behaviors, for example, there are two main types of the attribution: situational and dispositional. Situational attribution basically says that a person's actions are due to the situation that they are in. For an example of situational attribution is when we blame the weather for being late to work. We say that no, this is not the time for, or actually you are not working to late night or to wanna to work hard, so this put all these blame on the late timings or on the weather. So this is situational attribution bias. Suppose a student fails her examination, and her parents assume that she did not pay enough attention in her study. So this is a dispositional attribution. However, he regularly goes to school and he takes the lecture and he does not make the study. So it does not mean that he is blaming all the factor to the educational style or mode of teaching. Actually, he has not performed well. So this is the dispositional attribution bias. You can say that dispositional attribution is when we perceive an event to be caused by an internal factor, and while situational attribution is when we perceive an event as is caused by an external factors. Now, what are the different factors which cause the attribution bias? Research studies also explored that and identified that different factors, for example, ability, effort, task difficulty, or luck, as the most important factors which affecting the attribution for achievements. Now, what are the different implications for the investors? Irrationally attributing success and failure can impair investors in two different ways. First of all, people who are not able to perceive mistakes that they have made are then consequently unable to learn from those mistakes. And secondly, when investors who disproportionately credit themselves when desirable outcomes do arise can become detrimentally overconfident in their own market savvy. So, different pitfalls of the self serving behavior that often lead to financial markets will be discussed in the next slides. For example, and it self-attribution investors can, after a period of successful investing, such as 1 quarter or 1 year, believe that their success is due to their acumen as investors rather than to factors out of their control. So, this behavior can lead to taking on too much risk as the investors become too confident in their behavior. Self-attribution bias often leads investor to trade too much than is prudent, as investors believe that successful investing or trading is attributed to the skills versus luck. And they begin to trade too much, and which has been shown to the riskiest to your wealth. Self-attribution bias also leads investor to hear what they want to hear. So that is when investors are presented with informations that confirms a decision that they made to make an investment, they will ascribe brilliance to themselves. So this may lead to an investor that make a purchase or hold an investment that they should not. Fourth one, which cause the mistakes, which is self-attribution bias, can cause investors to hold under diversified portfolios, especially among investors that attribute the success of a company's performance to their own contributions, such as corporate executives, board of directors, top level management, and so on. So often the performance of a stock is not attributed to the skills of an individual person, but rather many other factors also affect that, including thus holding a concentrated stock position can be associated with self attribution and should be avoided. Here is a diagnostic test, you can say a quiz can help to detect the susceptibility to self attribution bias. Here I have given you 1 and 2 questions for your assignment, or you can say home assignment. That, for example, self attribution test. That after making an investment, assume that you overhear a news report that has negative implication regarding the potential outcome of the investment you have made, just executed. So how likely are you to then seek information that could confirm that you have made a bad decisions? So what your answer will be, that very unlikely, unlikely, likely, or very likely. So the result analysis shows that people who response indicates that they would be unlikely to seek information that could implicate them in a previous poor decisions are likely to suffer from self-attribution bias. So this is so because an investment failure is due not to poor decision making but to bad luck. Okay, so another question, that when returns to your portfolio increase to what do you believe that the change in performance mainly due? Your investment skill, a combination of investment skill and luck, or only a luck? So attributing financial success to skill tends to indicate susceptibility to self-attribution bias. So many other questions or quizzes here you can see from you can judge the behavior of the investors in the financial markets, that how self-attribution biases affect on their making financial decisions in the financial markets. Now, how can attribution bias be prevented? What should be the safeguard for us that we should not affected by this bias? So, the best way to avoid this error, experts says, and previous research also say that, is to put ourselves in the shoes of other and try to envision the pressure they might have faced. Another implication of the fundamental attribution error is that we may be too easy on ourselves if we are not careful. Now, what the advice for the investors? Again, the different research also provides that best warning against the pitfalls or drawbacks, you can say, of self-attribution bias. That number one, that don't confuse brains with a bull market. You student knows very well that what is the bull and bear market. So here they are saying that when there is a bull market, don't confuse your brains with the bull market, because oftentimes when financial decisions pan out well, investors like to congratulate themselves on their shrewdness, that all these have done because of their sharp thinking. But when things don't turn out so profitably and favorably in their favor, so however they can console themselves by concluding that someone or something else or different other factors is at fault. So in many cases neither explanation is entirely correct, because winning investment outcomes are typically due to any number of other factors. You can't say that only this factor affecting the profitability. So a bull market being the most prominent, stocks decline in value meanwhile can be equally random and complex. So sometimes the fault does lie in arenas well beyond an investor's control, such as fraud or mismanagement. So one of the best things investor can do is view both winning and losing investments as objectively as possible. However, most people don't take the time to analyze the complex influence of the different factors that helped them to realize profit or to confront the different potential mistakes that increase the loss. So post analysis is one of the best learning tool, you can say, at an investor's disposal. So it is understandable but ultimately irrational to fear an examination of one's past mistake. So the only real and grievous error is to continue to succumb to overconfidence and as a result to repeat the same mistake. So advisors and individual investors should perform a post analysis of each investment, that where did you make the money, where did you lose the money, mentally separate your good money making decision from your bad ones. So then review the beneficial decisions and try to discern what exactly you did correctly. Did you purchase the stock at a particularly advantageous times or not? Was the market in general or an upswings? So similarly, you should review the decisions that you have categorized as poor. For example, what went wrong? What you buy stock with poor earning? Were those stocks trading at or near their recent price? high when you purchased them, or did you pick up the stock as they were beginning to decline or not? So another, did you purchase a stock aptly and simply make an error when it came time to sell? So was the market in general undergoing or in a correction phase? So all these are the decisions for which advisors and individual and investors says that they must have a post analysis for each investment. So when reviewing unprofitable decisions, so look for the patterns or common mistakes that perhaps you were unaware of making. Note any such tendencies that you discover and try to remain mindful of them. For example, brainstorming a rule or a reminder such as I will not do any other activity, for example an X activity in the future, and I will do another activity in the future. So being conscious of these rules will help you to overcome and bad habits that may have acquired, and can also reinforce your reliance on the strategies that have served you well. So always remember that admitting and learning from your past mistakes is the best way to become a smarter, better, and more successful investor. So we always says that before going to sleep, take a review of the whole day, that what you have done, what are the positive and what are the negative activities you have done in the whole day. Then you will be able to evaluate yourself that how your day was. So in the same concept you can apply in the making decisions, that when you are going to make a decision, you must have to analyze the past experiences, the positive and negative, and all the consequences for which you have done. So after reviewing all your previous experiences or past experiences, whether they are positive or negative, you will be able to make a good and proper decisions. uh, this was the detailed understanding of the self attribution bias. Hope you will understand it. And if yes, there are different terminologies, and this is a theoretical subject and conceptual subject, and for improve your to enhance your understanding, I have also uploaded a book for you to get a detailed understanding about all the biases which you want to learn. And I always ask my student that yes, Google is a home teacher. If you want to get a detailed understanding about any topic or any terminology, you can Google it to further get its explanation. So thank you so much for listening me, and take it seriously, dear student. Take care of your health, and always remember me in your prayers. Okay. May Allah Pak protects all of you and your families. Live your life happily. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.